So a few years ago, I blogged about this idea of the multiverse, and it's this idea that there are like potentially unlimited number of universes, all stacked one on top of the other, sort of all taking up the same space at the same time, if you like. Now, my idea of it is probably not the same as scientists, astrophysicists, people like that, people doing kind of the real hard work of quantum mechanics and understanding how the nuts and bolts of the universe work. So it's a bit more kind of I don't want to use the word philosophical because that might make me sound a bit wanky, but it's a bit more conceptual than that, a bit more abstract. But the idea is that we all kind of buy into this idea that reality is one thing, but actually it's an infinite number of things. And this whole idea that it's one thing is actually a very simplistic thing, basically, that we all have to kind of buy into, because otherwise it would just be chaos if we were all going off exploring different versions of reality. But the fact is, there are different versions of reality going on all the time, everywhere. And we can choose which one we want to jump into. So we can, for example, someone who does a lot of sport, like a professional athlete, their version of reality is going to be very different to someone who is a gardener, for example, or someone who spends their time writing poetry. So you have all these different versions of reality that are all kind of stacked on top of each other in the same space. And you can switch from one to the other just by, for example, changing your location. So if your idea of reality is a pretty grey day where it's raining, potentially you could jump on a plane and go somewhere sunny and reality changes. Okay, probably not possible right now, what with COVID and lockdowns and that sort of thing. But if you're being finding being indoors is really getting you down, and reality is getting you down, you can go for a walk around the park, and that changes your reality. So we do have a certain say over what reality looks like, and it is malleable. And we can change our location, we can change, if we're not happy with the reality of how we look, we can grow a beard, or we can shave it off, or we can put on a hat, or you can, do all the things you need to do to lose weight, for example. Or if you're too skinny, put weight on. Whatever you want to do, you have a say in what happens. And so there's this whole idea of reality can be changed when we change your location, change the books you read, change the people you hang out with, but also change how you think. So I'm a great believer in what you focus on expands. So if you read the news a lot and you're interested in geopolitics, you're going to be very much in tune with that. But if you want to tune into, say, West End musicals, you literally change your diet, so you're not necessarily consuming information about geopolitics anymore. You're consuming information about West End musicals, and that's going to change your outlook. It's going to change your perspective on life. Similarly, if you spend your time angry about Donald Trump or Brexit, or just feeding your anger and your frustration on all of this stuff that is pretty much designed to make you angry anyway, because there's a thing called the outrage economy that is fueled by our anger. That's how the Daily Mail works. It's how newspapers work. Everything is about biases, and it's about feeding those biases and giving you something to be angry about. But you don't have to buy into it. Just because you don't watch the news doesn't mean you're a bad person or immoral because you don't know the exact ins and outs of the human rights situation in America. You have to look after yourself, and part of that is by the diet you eat. But anyway, going back to realities. So you can change your reality by changing yourself. If you focus in on the negative stuff and you're always focused on everything that's going wrong in your life, then you're going to be pretty miserable. And the studies have shown this, I am sure. That where we look, where we focus our attention bias, it reflects our state of mind and our sense of reality. So where are you focusing your attention bias? What are you focusing? Are you complaining about stuff all the time? Really pay attention. Some people don't think they're complaining, but especially us British, we make complaining a national pastime. And every time you complain, you are focusing on something you don't like. So what about celebrating instead? You could celebrate the little wins you had. What a delicious cup of coffee I had. A lovely walk in the park. I had a phone call from my friend the other day. That nice man held the door open for me when I was struggling with my shopping bags. All this kind of stuff. You can focus on it. You can use gratitude to bring it into your life and literally change your reality for the better. And if we do it consciously, if we take ownership of our sense of reality, and we really become aware of where things are starting to weigh down on us. And it's like, I had a hard day yesterday. What did I do? Why was I so miserable? Did I watch too much news? Was I focused on everything that's going wrong? We can start to influence and shape our lives and even design our lives in ways that are beneficial to us. So there is a thought for today. The multiverse. Reality is not one thing. It's many, many things, and we can jump between the two by shifting our focus, changing our behaviors, changing our location, changing how we look, changing what we consume. Just be conscious of where you are right now as opposed to where you would like to be right now, and think about what you can change in where you look, the kind of focus. What you focus on expands. So if you want more happiness in your life, then focus yourself on things that bring you happiness. Don't wait for life just to serve it up. Don't get miserable because, the world's on fire. Isn't it awful? Well, yeah, the world is on fire and it is awful, but that doesn't have to consume your entire life and your own well-being. I mean, what can you really do about it? There are wildfires going on in California and Australia. I'm not in California or Australia. I can be conscious, I can live better and be more ethical in what I do, but I can't let all of the world's problems bear down on my shoulders because I've got a life to live and I need to make that life as enjoyable and worthwhile for me as possible. All right, life shouldn't be a slog. Let's shift our versions of reality. Let's jump from one universe to another just by changing something. What can we change today to make things better? Cheers.